you delete the top part of my intro so that it's not like a big old paragraph?
This is NBC Palm Springs. Breaking news.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Olivia Sandusky. We're going to take a live look at the White House, where President Trump just departed about an hour ago. Marine One transported the president from the White House to Walter Reed Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland, so that doctors can monitor him. He and the First Lady have contracted COVID-19. The White House physician says the president is experiencing mild symptoms, including fatigue and a low-grade fever. Right before he left for the hospital, President Trump tweeted out this video.
I want to thank everybody for the tremendous support. I'm going to Walter Reed Hospital. I think I'm doing very well, but we're going to make sure that things work out. The First Lady is doing very well. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will never forget it. Thank you.
His voice just a bit raspy. The president is being treated with an experimental antiviral drug. First Lady Melania Trump also testing positive. She currently has a cough. There has been no transfer of power, but earlier today, Vice President Mike Pence stood in for the president on a couple of scheduled phone calls. Now, all of this coming out after President Trump's aide Hope Hicks tested positive. No word on whether she's experiencing any symptoms or is asymptomatic. And this raises all kinds of questions about the president's health, the presidential race, and upcoming debates, all on a day when the coronavirus numbers for Riverside County jumped 5 times more than yesterday, which we'll get to in a moment. We have live team coverage with our Kitty Alvarado in our satellite news center on what the president and First Lady may face with their health in coming days. But we'll begin with Nico Payne, who's live in La Quinta at Republican National Headquarters with what this means for the campaign. Nico.
Both parties have different opinions on how the president has been handling this pandemic, but one thing they both can agree on is they say that President Trump will not be changing his view on the coronavirus. As leaders around the world react to President Trump and the First Lady testing positive for coronavirus, here in Coachella Valley, local leaders are chiming in too.
I think everybody was kind of shocked last night, but you know what? It could happen to anybody. And I feel like the president has been very cautious about where he is and what he's doing.
I wasn't that surprised because he has spurned wearing masks. At the debate, his family were offered masks. They refused. If you look at the video, his wife, his children did not have masks on. It's unfortunate, however.
Congressman Raul Ruiz and Assemblymember Chad Mays also reacting to the news, saying it's a wake-up call to us all.
I'm praying for the health and a speedy recovery for the President and the First Lady. And I also want to take this opportunity, a wake-up call, and ask every viewer and every resident and community member to please wear your mask. Please keep physically distance of at least 6 feet or more. And please wash your hands with frequency so that we can put an end to this terrible virus.
The President of the United States is America's CEO, and anytime there's a threat to the CEO, I think it's one of those things where we all come together as a country. This is a dangerous virus, and it is no respecter of persons. So that's why public health officials have told us to wear masks, to be socially distant. If the President of the United States can be affected by this, any of us can be affected by it.
And although the president has now contracted COVID-19, a virus he has downplayed at times, both political parties feel he will not be changing his stance on the virus.
I don't think there's going to be much difference, really. Maybe a few things canceled, but I think he'll emerge in 10 days.
He is a man who does not like to admit when he's wrong. He is still refusing. It was still refusing as late as, the debate, making fun of Joe Biden for wearing a mask.
And with more on the health perspective of this breaking news, we'll send it over to our Kitty Alvarado in the Satellite Center, who has more on that. Kitty.
This is a serious diagnosis that affects everyone differently, and we just don't know enough about the disease to know what makes it mild for some and deadly for others. The President of the United States is among the more than 7 million Americans who've tested positive for COVID-19. The White House Chief of Staff says the president is in good spirits.
The president does have mild symptoms.
Then he was taken to Walter Reed Medical Center. But what are mild symptoms of the respiratory viral infection that has proven deadly for over 200,000 Americans? Michael Connors, an infection preventionist at Eisenhower Health, says the term is generic.
But typically mild symptoms are low-grade fevers, say less than 100.4 to 100.7, mild cough, body aches, no difficulty breathing.
But as the virus replicates, those mild symptoms can get severe. With coronavirus, you just don't know.
It varies quite a bit. We've had some 70-year-olds and even older who had very little or no symptoms whatsoever.
But he does fall into the higher risk category. He says his age makes him 5 times more likely to be hospitalized.
He is in an older age category and he is mildly obese. Both of those make him at higher risk for being hospitalized or dying. But most people, even with that higher risk, do recover without any major issues.
Among those who've recovered without major issues is Dr. Andrew Orden, a plastic surgeon to the stars and co-host on the TV show The Doctors.
It ain't no hoax. Trust me.
He says he had a moderate to severe case that lasted weeks. His symptoms included high fevers and body aches, but after a week, he developed a deep, persistent cough that lingered.
It's sneaky and it's flu-like, but it's different.
He feels fortunate to have fully recovered.
I am back to 100%. I haven't let my guard down.
But his friend was not so lucky.
A dear colleague in his 60s, he just passed from COVID-19. So this hit us hard.
Both wish the president a full and speedy recovery and hope this will serve as a reminder to stay vigilant.
We're all ready for this to be over. Unfortunately, it's not, and we really need to stay on our game.
Now's not the time to drop our guard.
And one thing both medical experts say that is in the president's favor is that he has the best care and treatment possible, which includes around-the-clock monitoring. I'm Kitty Alvarado.
All right, thank you, Kitty. With President Trump testing positive, people are asking who else around him has been exposed and what testing protocols are in place. Some health experts are taking this opportunity to remind all of us that just because someone tests negative now, that does not mean that person is in the clear.
There is still a chance that someone can test negative who is actually positive for the virus. The bottom line is anywhere from 2 days to 14 days after exposure, a person can become symptomatic and or test positive.
Health experts say a test gives you a sense of whether you have the virus at that moment in time. It's not a pass to stop taking preventative measures. Anyone who is exposed is urged to quarantine for 2 weeks. Now, having said all of this, here's a look at the coronavirus numbers for Riverside County and the entire Coachella Valley. As we mentioned earlier, we're seeing a big jump in cases, more than 5 times what we reported just yesterday. 446 new cases were reported countywide, 74 of those here in our valley. There are 5 new deaths in the county, 2 of those from the Coachella Valley. With the president in quarantine for the next 2 weeks, how does this affect the presidential race? Right now, it's all speculation, so we turn to NBC Palm Springs political analyst Hank Plant for some insight.
The race is on hold. I mean, the campaign is on freeze frame right now, especially on the Trump side. I mean, the president has canceled his upcoming events for the next couple of weeks. He was supposed to be in Wisconsin this weekend. That's not going to happen. Joe Biden will have to be careful about how he campaigns against President Trump, because you can't knock the president, which has been part of the Biden strategy. So the campaign is essentially over at this point.
We'll hear more from Hank Plant in our 6 o'clock hour of news. Wall Street reacts to news of the president testing positive. The day began with stocks down several hundred points, and within a couple of hours, the market rebounded. But the market closed in negative territory, down 134 points. That's the encouraging news today.
The market has already baked in a change or a continuance of the current presidency. So regardless of who wins and so on and so forth, the fact that there's a possibility of a change there has already been a little bit baked in. This is throwing us off that cycle, because that decision won't be made till January 20th next year. And today, the news that he's going into the hospital, we don't know what's going to happen between today and January 20th. So that gives us a lot of interim volatility.
We'll have more from Valdez on market volatility at 6 o'clock as well. Now, despite the news about a spike in numbers and the president and first lady both testing positive, a group of parents is holding a demonstration at Palm Desert High School saying they want schools reopened. Our Jonathan Oaxaca is there live. Jonathan, fill us in on what's happening out there right now.
Thank you, Olivia. Yes, we are in front of the Palm Desert High School, and parents, students, and teachers are rallying in front of the school in hopes of reopening schools throughout the Riverside County. They are carrying signs that say back to classrooms. You can see some of them that have another sign that says education is essential. There's a group here already, to show their message. And here with us, we have Leslie Contour, who's the coordinator of this rally out here. Leslie, you have a daughter who comes to Palm Desert High School. Why is this important for you?
It's so important. One, she's a senior, but it's not just about her. It's about all the kids that want to get back into the classroom. She just happens to be a senior, so she's missing out on a lot. It happens to be about mental health and socialization for these kids. According to our science and Dr. Fauci, the CDC, pediatrics, they are all saying these kids need to be back in the classroom.
Now, let's say they do open the schools. Is there any concern with what we're going with the pandemic?
The school is prepared to be taking all the precautions, and technically, if we go to plan with our tier, they should be able to go back next week. They are working on putting in ventilation and the proper screening, and everyone wearing masks. So there's no reason why not to get back in the classroom.
Have you talked to the school district, and have you gotten any response from them?
As of right now, they say the middle and high school won't be going back until January, and that's not okay. We need to get these kids back in the classroom. Zoom is not working.
Thank you so much, Leslie. We appreciate it. Now, parents are still going to be here. The students also are going to be here, and they're going to be part of this rally. We will still be here as well, and we'll have more information for you at 6 p.m. Reporting live from Palm Desert, Jonathan Oaxaca, NBC Palm Springs. Back to you.
Coronavirus coverage brought to you by East Valley COVID-19 testing site, serving residents of eastern Coachella Valley.
Certainly a warm afternoon for those parents to be gathering, rallying outside of the school. Let's send it over to NBC Palm Springs meteorologist Jerry Steffen with a look at your AccuWeather forecast.
Well, the Coachella Valley saw another hot one earlier today, 113. That's well above average. Not a record for Palm Springs. That would have been 115, but several records were set. We'll have more of that coming up in the full forecast. Today, Basically, high pressure kept us above average. That'll be the case again tomorrow. Again, straddling 110 tomorrow afternoon. A lot of sunshine, dry air at the surface. Dew points will be in the 20s. Triple digits will start as early as 10:30, 11 o'clock tomorrow and peak at around 4 in the afternoon. Here's a sample of what you can expect tomorrow. Saturday, lots of sunshine. 110 Palm Springs, 97 Joshua Tree. At or slightly above 100 degrees in the San Gorgonio Pass cities, and Big Bear at 79. A Comfort Air 3-day forecast puts us at 110 tomorrow, and then the numbers come down, but only a little bit. 107 on Sunday with lots of sunshine. A few high clouds move in on Monday with a high of 107. We'll take a look at what we can expect moving into the next week in October in the full forecast just minutes away.
All right, thank you, Jerry. Still ahead on NBC Palm Springs, the cargo plane involved in a mid-air collision earlier this week is still sitting in a field in Thermal. We'll have the latest on what's happening with that when we return. Stay with us.
The Jocelyn Center is a treasured oasis for our Valley seniors where they stay healthy and engaged. Join NBC Care's Sandy Newton and Dale Johannes for a unique fundraising experience on Saturday, October 3rd at 6:30 p.m. Help keep Jocelyn in motion.
Welcome back. As we check on that C-130 cargo plane in Thermal, the plane made an emergency landing in a field near Polk Street and Avenue 59 after it and a fighter jet clipped each other midair during a refueling mission. The F-35B crashed about 30 miles away in Ocotillo Wells. 2 people on board ejected safely. No one was either hurt in either of those planes, and no one on the ground was injured either. Right now, we still don't know when military officials will order the C-130 to be removed. The final jobs report before the November election was released today. Non-farm payrolls rose by 661,000 in the month of September. This represents a slide from the 1.5 million jobs added in August and the 4.8 million jobs added in June. The unemployment rate currently sits at 7.9%. Many analysts say the U.S. economy is headed in the right direction, but more slowly than they were hoping for, and the momentum is slowing. Amazon says more than 19,000 frontline workers in the U.S. have had COVID-19. That's about 1.5% of the e-commerce giant's total workforce. Amazon has added temperature checks, social distancing measures, and other safety procedures at its facilities. We'll take a live look now at our Walter Clark Highway 111 cam. It is a beautiful evening out there and a little bit crisp, but 109 degrees. Jerry Steffen has your full forecast next. Let's take a live look now from our Agua Caliente casino cams. This one out in Rancho Mirage, a little bit hazy out there in the landscape as we kind of look off towards that hill, that mountainside on a warm Friday evening. Our Palm Springs cams a little clearer as you can see things up close, a little more crisp definition there. We'll send things over to NBC Palm Springs meteorologist Jerry Steffen with your AccuWeather forecast.
Once again, we notched up another triple-digit day in early October. 113 the high in Palm Springs, 115 the record. Didn't meet that record, but there were several other cities that did break records. Thermal, 113, second day in a row. Thermal set a record. Indio at 111. Even Idlewild hit 93, tying a record set back in 1980. Clear skies on our satellite imagery, radar quiet as well. Just a very dry weather forecast for us over the next couple of days. Overnight lows, very comfortable in the 70-degree range, but you know it's going to be another hot one tomorrow with that ridge of high pressure still sticking around. So about 15 degrees above average tomorrow. Lots of sunshine, a dry northeasterly flow into our Saturday forecast. And again, it's going to be a very quick warm-up. Triple digits begin as early as 10:30 tomorrow, and we'll see those relative humidity numbers in the single digits, dew points in the 20s tomorrow afternoon. Here's what we can expect around Southern California. 110 Saturday under sunshine, Palm Springs, 108 at Indio, 101, 29 Palms, 103 at Cabazon. Then things change a little bit. Sunday, that ridge of high pressure that brought us the 110s, that weakens a little bit, but just dropping temps a few notches, 105 to 108 on Sunday afternoon, and Monday, same range of temps, but with with the addition of a few high clouds. Yeah, today, tomorrow, Sunday, expecting lots of clear skies. A few high clouds move in above 25,000 feet. We'll see a little extra cirrus cloud cover on Wednesday. Filtered sunshine for the Coachella Valley. Surface moisture has been very dry. That'll continue tomorrow, although those dew points inch up to mid-30s, relatively dry through early next week for the Coachella Valley. Marie is our latest named storm. Major category 4 hurricane. It's going to make its way to the west-northwest and eventually turn its way to the north as a ridge of high pressure begins to steer it toward the coastline. When that happens, it'll begin to bring some rain along the west coast. When will that happen? Well, let's track it right now. You can see it moving west-northwest, a little bit to the north, and approaching front will steer it to the coastline. And not this weekend, but the next, we could see some rain in parts of central and northern California. No rain for us, but it will drop temps. We'll see some mid-90s, again, a little over a week away. 137 days today of triple-digit highs for Palm Springs. We'll add to that total. Here's that Comfort Air 7-day forecast. 110 tomorrow, pair of 107s Sunday and Monday, and then 102s Thursday and Friday, some 90s, a little over a week away.
And to update our breaking news from today, here's a live look from the White House. President Trump's at Walter Reed Medical Center, where doctors are monitoring and evaluating the president's health. He and First Lady Melania Trump have tested positive for coronavirus. The White House says the president is experiencing fatigue and a low-grade fever. His voice is raspy. First Lady Melania Trump also testing positive. She has a cough. There's been no transfer of power, but earlier today, Vice President Mike Pence stood in for the president on a couple of scheduled phone calls. We'll be back in a moment. That does it for us here at 5 o'clock. NBC's Nightly News is up next. They'll have extended coverage of the president's health. Then we'll see you back at 6 o'clock for more NBC Palm Springs. See you then.